Hi everyone, welcome back to another board game tier list. We're talking about Dune Imperium some more, and this time we're talking about the conflict cards. So for those of you who are less familiar, the game is played over a series of rounds. At the end of each round, there is a conflict. And so anyone who's deployed troops that round will be in the conflict. You get 2 strength for each troop, and then 1 for each dagger that you showed during your reveal turn. Plus, everyone will have a chance to play combat cards that could give you additional daggers. Each conflict card has like 3 rewards. So whoever has the most strength gets the first place reward, second is second. And then in a 4-player game, you'll also award the third place one. In a 3-player game, there's no third place award. And if you tie, you split the next award down. And these conflicts become increasingly more high stakes as the game goes on. So the deck is made up of 10 cards. Only one of those will be a level 1 conflict. And then you'll have 5 that are level 2 conflicts. So that's the bulk of the game. And then the last 4 will be level 3 conflicts. Which is interesting. In the base game, there's only 4 level 3 conflicts to choose from. So it's the same 4 every time. But you usually also don't get through all 10 rounds, because endgame is triggered if somebody ends a round with over 10 points. Or if nobody does that, then it ends after the 10th round. But usually it's like probably 8 rounds is a typical game. So the bulk is really made up of the level 2s. So I'm going to do a tier list for each of these level 1 cards, and then level 2 cards, then level 3s. From S to F. S is the best, F is the worst. Without further ado, we'll get started. Skirmish. So this is a level 1 card. I think they're all just called Skirmish, actually. But this particular Skirmish rewards first place gets a point, which is pretty huge because, like I said, the end game is triggered at 10. So each point is a big deal. Second place gets an Intrigue card and 2 Solari, and then third place gets 2 Solari. I'm mostly going to grade them based on the first place reward, but I am going to take these into account a little bit if it feels relevant. So yeah, that's decent. I mean, like I said, a point is huge, but I do think there's actually some of the other first place rewards, believe it or not, are better than a point, in my opinion. The second place honestly feels strong. Third place doesn't feel very strong. But yeah, I think that's a solid Skirmish. We're going to put that in B. All right, Skirmish. So this one, third place is the same reward. Second is 3 money, so that's just clearly weaker than that second place, I think. Although money is important early game, an Intrigue card is just much more valuable than 1 money. But the first place reward is you gain any 1 influence and 2 money. I actually think this is probably the best one. I feel like an influence can be just as good as a point because they directly lead to points, but also it can help you kickstart things early game. And if you beat your opponents up the tracks, you keep them from getting points, and you get bonuses along the way. So I feel like the influence is about as good as a point even by itself, but then when you add the 2 Solari, that really makes it stronger. I'm not a big... Money is the least valuable resource, but it is most important early game. So since these are level 1 conflicts, this is definitely one I'd want to go for. If I get first or second or even third, that's going to help me get to my Swordmaster or my High Council seat. So this is S tier for me. And that's why I think this is an interesting video, because when you see these conflict cards come out, it really does affect whether or not you go, how hard you go to try to win the combat, or how much you save your troops for the future ones. So that's one that would make me go for it. Skirmish, again. So this is interesting. It's a point, a water, or a spice. So obviously first place is the same as this. I do think the second and third place rewards are not as valuable, so I'm going to put that in C. And Skirmish. So first place is anyone influence and a spice. Second is 2 spice. Third is 1 spice. So basically the same as this one, but you're getting spice instead of Solari. Which, 1 spice to 2 Solari is a fair trade. I do think just because money is better early game, this is ever so slightly better. So we'll put it in A, I guess. Just because there's so few cards. Nah, I'm going to put it in S. They're both really good. I want that influence early. We might have to adjust as we go. We'll see. All right. Oh, so that's actually the only 4 for the base game, interestingly enough. This is one that comes with X. First place reward gives you a troop, and it lets you move on the shipping track, which is a mechanic that's unique to X. That's pretty significant. And then you can get spice. That definitely can help you get going early game because the shipping track is the best way to get money fast, but I don't think that's as valuable as a point. I'm actually going to slide these up. That's going to be A, B, C. We're just adjusting as we go here. All right. This is also X. Okay, same thing as that one. Well, not quite. Similar. It gives you a shipping track movement and a spice for first, and it gives you money for second and third. So I do think that is stronger. I think the spice is better than the troop early game because it's not like you can deploy that troop. And then the money, I think, is more helpful than the spice early game as well. So we'll put it in B. It's kind of funny. It feels like these should be in the same tier and these should be in the same tier, but I think there is enough of a difference. We'll just roll with that. All right, and then this is from Bloodlines, which I will admit I have not played Bloodlines as much, so I'm not as much of an expert on this. First place reward is to trash a card, which is obviously nice early game. Second place is a water and a money, which is just better than that. Third place is 2 money, which is in line with a lot of the other ones. I don't think the trash is that valuable that it really stands on its own as a first place reward. I will say this is one that's kind of designed for the Uprising sequel because of this question mark here. That's a mechanic from Uprising. If you win 2 combat cards with a matching symbol, then you can turn those in for a point. And this one is a wild symbol, so that inherently makes it extra valuable. But I still just don't think it's amazing. So I'm gonna put it in C regardless. No, I'll put it in B just because of the wild. All right, and that's all for level 1. So there's our tier list. They're all solid enough. There's none that it's like really bad. But these ones that give you the influence are my preferred. All right, so let's talk level 2. You're gonna see these are certainly gonna be stronger. And this is the bulk of the game, so there's a lot of these, so this is always interesting. And these can come out anywhere between round 2 to round 6, so when they come out really changes things too. So, secure Imperial Basin. So, first place reward is a point, just like some of the other skirmishes, but you also get to take control of Imperial Basin. So that means for the rest of the game, whenever somebody goes to Imperial Basin, you get a bonus spice. Second place is 2 water, third place is a water. That one is pretty good to me. Yeah, especially if it comes out early, taking control of Imperial Basin is really nice because you just get free passive spice. And then obviously the point is pretty significant. So that's between S and A. I'm going to put in an A for now. We'll see if we adjust later. Cloak and Dagger. All right, first place is any 1 influence and 2 intrigue cards. Second place is an intrigue card and a spice. Third is an intrigue card or a spice. So as you can see, there's normally themes where the rewards are kind of similar, just lessening and lessening the value. I do think that's pretty good because the influence is important and 2 intrigue cards. It's nice when you can get 2 at once. Sometimes the intrigue cards are hit or miss, but if you get 2, odds are one of them is going to be helpful. I'm going to put that in A. Strong start here. All right, now this is probably my least favorite one, Guild Bank Raid. If this comes out early, like around 2, maybe 3, then sure, I'll go for it because the money is still valuable. But if this comes out round 6, I do not care about getting Solari at that point. It's not worth going for. I mean, when you compare 6 money to the first place rewards up here, it's just weak. So that's going to go F. Raid stockpiles, an intrigue card and 3 spice, or 2 spice, or 1 money. So this is just, when you compare these, like, the second and third place feel equal in value. First place just seems better because of the intrigue card. And also I think this holds its value more later in the game because spice is just valuable early, mid, late, doesn't really matter. It's still not amazing. It's not one that I'm going to jump for that's really going to move the needle, so I'm going to put it in C. Now this is one that when it comes out, I say, okay, I want to go for this fight if I can. Because the first place reward gives you 2 influence. They have to be in different tracks, but 2 influence, and then second place is a water and 2 money, third place is a water. So yeah, this is going to go to S tier for me just because the influence is so important. So to get 2 of them, I feel like is huge to just make a big move right at once there. Okay, Desert Power. So a point and a water, or a water and a spice, or a spice. So, I mean, when you stack that up against Imperial Basin, it's just weaker. I mean, second place, a spice instead of a water is weaker. Third place, a spice instead of a water is weaker. And assuming it's early enough in the game, I'd rather have control than a water. It's just 1 water, you know? The other thing about control is that if a future combat comes out that's in Imperial Basin, and you control Imperial Basin, you get a free troop in the combat from your supply. So that's another thing I forgot to mention there. But a point is still a point, so we'll put it in B. Sort through the chaos. This is interesting. This lets you take the Mentat, which this is the only way that I know of that you can take the Mentat ahead of time like that. And an intrigue card and 2 money. Or an intrigue card and 2 money, or just 2 money. So... Again, money's more valuable early game, so it kind of matters, but also the agents and the intrigue cards are good whenever. It's kind of a little of a lot of things, which can be tough because it feels like it doesn't totally move the needle. And yeah, money's just not amazing. If I get third place on this one, I'm pretty sad. But if I get second, I'm okay. I think I'm between B and C. I think I'm going to put it in C. Terrible purpose. All right, so again, a point and a trash, or a spice and a water, or a spice. So very similar to that one, but it's a trash instead of a water, which I think is much more impactful, especially early game. Get that stuff out of your way. That's going to be A for me. Siege of Carthage. So again, a point and take control this time of Carthage. Now, controlling Carthage is just not as good as controlling Imperial Basin, in my opinion, because the bonus for there is a Solari every time someone goes there instead of a spice. So that makes it weaker. Second and third are fine. It's going to be B for me, I think. Yeah, it's pretty close to this one, but I do really like trashing, so I'm going to keep it in B. All right, Siege of Arrakeen. So you take control of Arrakeen, which also has a 1 Solari bonus, like Carthage. And then the second and third place is money, which again, it can depend on how early or late in the game we are. I would say, I think it's similar enough to Siege of Carthage that it belongs in B. All right, and I think, yep, that's all for the base game. That's all 10. So that's kind of our layout. Could I move this up to S? I don't know. That one's kind of on the line, but you can see there's a lot of these solid ones that are like a point and something. These ones kind of jump out as being some of the stronger other ones, and those are kind of just some resources that are meh. All right, Ix. First place is 2 shipping track movements and a troop. Second is an intrigue card and a water. Third is an intrigue card or a water. It's a pretty strong second place reward, I will say. The double shipping track movement is pretty big. I mean, even if you don't have any other shipping track movements, that's going to be at minimum, 5 money or 2 spice. But ideally, you'll keep going and then you'll get more bonuses. But is it better than a point? I think it's good enough to be in B, but I won't put it any higher than that. And Bloodlines. Again, it's a wild, which is sweet. This place lets you spy, and that gold one, it means you can put a spy there even if there's already another spy there, so that's pretty cool. 2 spice. It's a strong second place reward. 2 intrigue cards and 2 money. Or, again, a really strong third place reward. I mean, these other ones are just 2 money or an intrigue card. That's both. But the first place reward doesn't feel like it's quite as strong. So that is funny. But again, it is wild. I think I'll put it in B. All right, so that's our tier 2. I think this is my order. That's the best. Then this, then these, and so on. So that's my level 2 conflict tier list. All right, and then let's talk about 3s. These are the real heavy hitters. These are the ones that everyone's waiting for that can really make or break the game for you. Just 1 or 2 daggers on these could be the difference between, a bunch of points. So, Battle for Imperial Basin. If you win it, you get 2 points and control of Imperial Basin. Second place is 5 spice. Third place is 3 spice. So this is a great one to go for because even if you don't get it, you're going to get a bunch of spice that can help you win the next one. But obviously 2 points is just huge. Controlling Imperial Basin is less significant at this point because it's late in the game, but still could be helpful. I think that's the best one. Battle for Arrakeen, very similar, except you control Arrakeen instead of Imperial Basin. I also think the second place and third place rewards are not quite as good because money's not very helpful at this point, and the intrigue cards could be, but I'd rather just have 5 spice. But still, 2 points is 2 points, so that's going to be A. And Battle for Carthage. Again, very similar. Second place is an intrigue card and 3 spice. Third is 3 spice. I'm actually going to flip-flop. I think that's A and that's B. Because the choose 2, I'm probably taking the intrigue card and the 2 spice pretty much every time. That's an intrigue card and 3 spice, so ever so slightly better. Grand Vision. This is the one that I hate. I'll be saving up and preparing for a big round 7 combat when I can hopefully get 2 points, and then this comes out and I just groan because it's just not as good. So that stinks when you're that person who has a good chance to win it, and then that just kind of takes you back because the two influence has to be on the same track. So it's probably going to be worth a point. Either you go up to the 2 at a track where you are at 0, or you go up to and steal the alliance from somebody else. So it probably gives you a point, and maybe it steals an alliance from somebody else, which could equate to a 2-point swing. But I'd rather just have the 2 points. And then the intrigue card is maybe more valuable than taking control at that point, but it's not enough to make up for it. Sometimes this can be worth 0 points, depending on where things stand with the influence track, which is just super frustrating. Second and third place are fine, but I'm going to put it in F. And then this one is, so those are the 4 from the base game. Obviously 3 very similar ones, and then that one really just stands out as being the weak spot. This is from X. This one's really interesting because it has the highest ceiling. When you win, you get 1 point automatically, and then if you spend 6 money, you get a 2nd point, or if you spend 4 spice, you get a 2nd point. If you do both, you get all 3 points. So this is nuts because it can be 3 points, but it can also just be 1 point. I think it's probably the strongest second place reward to just get a point, and the third place reward's not bad either. But that's what's frustrating, is sometimes you win this, and the second place person gets just as much out of it as you do if you don't have the resources. It's just really hard to collect the resources and get the troops that you need to win it. So it's just a tough one. So it's not going to be my top one. Yeah, I think it's C for me. I think it's better than Grand Vision for sure. But I don't think it's as good as just getting 2 points, because how often are you actually going to get all 3? I think that's very rare. So normally it's 2 points, but you have to work for it more, and you don't get control of anything. So that's it for me. There you go. We got 1 in each tier. Those are our 5 level 3 conflicts. Thanks for watching.